Dear readers, seekers of truth, and weary souls scrolling through an endless sea of distractions, pause just for a moment. Take a breath, a real breath, deep and full. Feel the air fill your lungs, the quiet ripple through your being. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly felt alive? Not just awake, not just present, but fully engaged, deeply connected, and brimming with purpose? In a world saturated with quick fixes, instant gratification, and the relentless pursuit of digital validation, we have been lulled into believing that happiness is just one more notification, one more download, one more like away. We have been conditioned to chase moments, not meaning to collect experiences rather than live them. And yet, despite our hyper-connected world, why do so many of us feel so utterly disconnected from ourselves, from each other, from life itself? Enter There Is No App for Happiness: How to Avoid a Near-Life Experience by Max Strom, a profound call to reclaim what technology has slowly eroded: our humanity, our serenity, our very essence of being. This book is not merely a critique of our screen-obsessed culture. It is a guide, a beacon, a whisper in the dark reminding us of something we have forgotten: the power of stillness, the importance of breath, the necessity of a life lived with intention. Max Strom, a visionary thinker and renowned teacher, invites us to step back from the dizzying pace of modern life and rediscover the ancient wisdom that has sustained humanity for centuries. Through his deeply insightful words, he dismantles the illusion that happiness can be found in the palm of our hands, reminding us instead that the path to fulfillment lies within our breath, our choices, our ability to be present. This book is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those ready to awaken. It is for those tired of the noise, weary of the chase, and longing for something real, something enduring. It is for those who recognize that life is not meant to be skimmed like a social media feed, but savored, felt, and experienced in its raw, unfiltered beauty. So, I invite you now to set aside your devices, silence the incessant pings of modern existence, and embark on a journey that will not only change how you think about happiness, but how you live it. There Is No App for Happiness is not just a book. It is an invitation to reclaim your life before it slips through your fingers, one distracted moment at a time. Let us begin. Part 1: Summary of the Presence Process by Michael Brown. Dear readers, seekers of truth, explorers of consciousness, and those yearning for a deeper, richer experience of life, today, we embark on a transformative journey into the Presence Process by Michael Brown. This is not just a book. It is a portal, an invitation to step into the most powerful moment of your existence, the present. The mind races, the past haunts us, and the future tempts us with its mirage of possibilities. But Michael Brown presents us with a radical idea. Everything we seek, peace, healing, fulfillment, is already here, right now. The only thing keeping us from it is our disconnection from the present moment. And so, we begin Part 1, where Brown lays the foundation for a journey not just of knowledge, but of experience. A journey that will shake the very core of our being, dissolving illusions and awakening a profound awareness that has always been waiting for us. Chapter 1: The Call to Presence, Awakening from the Dream. Like a master storyteller, Brown opens by addressing a universal truth. Most of us live in a state of unconsciousness, caught in the grip of reactive emotions and past traumas. He asks us a bold question: what if the suffering we experience isn't happening to us, but for us? We are conditioned to believe that happiness lies in fixing the external, changing jobs, finding the right partner, achieving financial success. But what if true transformation happens within? Brown challenges us to consider that our struggles are not random. They are echoes from the past, unhealed emotional wounds seeking resolution. He introduces a powerful principle: emotional imprints from childhood dictate our adult experiences. Here, Brown sets the stage for the journey ahead, urging us to abandon the search for external solutions and instead turn inward. This chapter is a wake-up call. It shakes us gently but firmly, making us realize that we have been asleep, dreaming the dream of the past while missing the infinite power of the now. Chapter 2: The Mechanics of Unresolved Emotions, the Hidden Architects of Our Reality. We now dive deeper into the core idea of the presence process. Unresolved emotions from childhood secretly dictate how we experience life. Brown explains that emotional wounds, often formed before we even had words to describe them, remain active within us, shaping our behaviors, relationships, and perceptions. Think of it. How often do we find ourselves in patterns we can't escape? The same conflicts, the same disappointments, the same anxieties, no matter how hard we try to change them? Brown reveals why. We are unconsciously reliving the past over and over again, mistaking it for the present. He introduces a game-changing insight. Our emotions are not meant to be avoided, suppressed, or explained away. They are messages, signposts guiding us toward healing. But to receive their wisdom, we must feel them fully, without resistance. This chapter is an eye-opener, leaving us with an unsettling yet liberating realization. What we've been running from is the very thing that can set us free. Chapter 3: The Emotional Body, Reclaiming the Lost Child Within. Here, Brown introduces us to an often ignored part of ourselves, the emotional body, which carries the weight of our unprocessed experiences. He explains that most of us live from the intellect, analyzing life rather than experiencing it. But true healing happens at the level of the emotions, not through logic or rationalization. This chapter is a revelation. Brown helps us see that we have abandoned parts of ourselves, leaving behind a wounded inner child that still longs for acknowledgement. This inner child does not understand time. It relives pain as if it is happening now. And every time we ignore it, we deepen the cycle of suffering. But there is hope. Brown offers a powerful practice. Instead of suppressing emotions, we must welcome them like lost children, embracing them with full presence.
No distraction. No escape.
Just presence. And here, a profound truth emerges. The more we resist our emotions, the more they control us. But when we give them our full attention, without judgment, they begin to dissolve, like shadows disappearing in the light. Chapter 4: The Power of Breath, Unlocking the Gateway to the Present. Now that we understand the nature of emotional imprints, Brown introduces us to one of the most powerful tools in our journey: the breath. Why the breath? Because it is the bridge between the conscious and unconscious, the key to unlocking our presence. Unlike the mind, which is trapped in time, the breath is always here, always now. Brown teaches that conscious, rhythmic breathing can help dissolve emotional blockages and bring us back to the present moment. This chapter is practical, offering a method that is deceptively simple yet profoundly effective. He describes how breathwork, when done with awareness, activates a deep purification process, bringing buried emotions to the surface so they can be released. It is here that Brown's work begins to feel like more than philosophy. It becomes an invitation to experience transformation, not just read about it. Chapter 5: Time is an Illusion. The Eternal Now is All There Is. If there is one idea that will shake the foundations of how we see reality, it is this: time does not exist the way we think it does. Brown makes a radical yet compelling case. Past and future are illusions. The only real moment is the present. Our suffering arises because we are either stuck in the past, reliving old pain, or anxious about the future, projecting fear onto what has not yet happened. But in the now, suffering dissolves. This is not just a concept, it is a lived experience. Brown shares a profound truth. Whenever we experience deep peace, we are fully present. And whenever we suffer, we are trapped in time. This chapter challenges us to stop postponing our happiness and recognize that everything we seek is already here. The invitation is clear. Instead of chasing the future or healing the past, we must enter the present moment fully. Only then can true transformation occur. Conclusion of Part 1. The Threshold of Transformation. And so, we reach the end of Part 1, but it is not an end at all. It is merely the beginning. Michael Brown has dismantled the illusions we have clung to, revealing a deeper truth. We are not broken. We do not need fixing. What we need is presence. We have been handed a key that unlocks a doorway into a new way of living, one where healing happens naturally, not through force, but through awareness. Now, the question is, will we step through that doorway? Will we embrace our emotions instead of running from them? Will we let go of the illusion of time and return to the eternal now? The path ahead is not easy, but it is worth it. For those who choose to walk it, the presence process offers something priceless, not just a new mindset, but a new way of being. And so, we stand at the threshold, ready to step forward into Part 2, where the real work begins, the practical application of everything we have learned. Are you ready? The journey to presence continues. Part 2 Summary. Dear readers, fellow seekers of truth and transformation, we have crossed the threshold, leaving behind the illusions of time and stepping into the realm of presence. In Part 1, Michael Brown awakened us to a profound truth. The unresolved emotions of our past shape our present reality, and the only way to break free is through full presence. But awareness alone is not enough. Knowledge without action is powerless. And so, Part 2 of the presence process shifts from understanding to experience, from theory to direct application. Now, we begin the real work, the deep, raw, and sometimes uncomfortable process of facing what we have long avoided. And yet, in this journey, there is also liberation. For as we fully embrace the present, we dissolve the chains of the past and awaken to a life of true freedom. Let us continue. Chapter 6. The 12-Week Process. A Journey of Inner Alchemy. If Part 1 was the why, this is the how. Brown introduces a structured 12-week process designed to systematically integrate presence into our daily lives. This is not a quick fix, nor is it a passive exercise. It is a commitment, one that requires patience, discipline, and courage. The process involves 1. Daily breath work, conscious, rhythmic breathing to clear emotional blockages. 2. Affirmations and intentions, reprogramming unconscious patterns by deliberately choosing new, empowering thoughts. 3. Emotional integration practices, facing emotions without judgment or suppression. Each week introduces a new focus, allowing old wounds to surface and be healed in a controlled, intentional manner. Brown warns us, this is not about feeling good all the time. It is about feeling everything, even the discomfort we have spent years avoiding. By surrendering to the process, we begin to see a profound shift. Our reactions become responses, our suffering transforms into wisdom, and our presence deepens. Chapter 7. Resistance and the Ego, the Battle Within. As soon as we begin the work, something inevitable happens: resistance. Brown explains that our ego, the identity we have built from past experiences, does not want change. It thrives on control, repetition, and familiarity. And so, when we attempt to break free, it fights back. Resistance shows up in many forms. Doubt, this isn't working. Distraction, I'll do it later. Justification, I'm too busy. Emotional backlash, sudden anger, sadness, or even physical discomfort. But Brown urges us to see resistance not as an enemy, but as proof that we are on the right path. The greater the resistance, the deeper the transformation. He offers a powerful tool. Instead of fighting resistance, we must acknowledge it with presence. Just like our emotions, resistance loses its power when we stop reacting to it and simply observe it. Chapter 8. The Mirror of Relationships, Seeing Ourselves Through Others. One of the most shocking revelations of the presence process is this: Every relationship in our life is a mirror, reflecting back to us the parts of ourselves we have not yet healed. That difficult boss? That distant partner? That friend who always triggers us? They are not the problem. They are messengers, exposing the unhealed wounds we carry. Brown challenges us to shift from blame to self-inquiry. Instead of asking, "Why is this person treating me this way?" ask, "What part of me is being reflected here?" Instead of reacting with anger or resentment, approach the situation with curiosity. This chapter is a revelation. It forces us to take radical responsibility for our experiences. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also empowering. For the moment we stop seeing life as happening to us and start seeing it as happening for us, we reclaim our power. Chapter 9: Emotional Triggers, Doorways to Freedom. Brown now takes us even deeper into emotional integration. He explains that every trigger, every surge of anger, sadness, or fear is an invitation. Instead of pushing it away or projecting it onto others, he teaches us to sit with it, to breathe through it, to feel it fully, without resistance. He introduces a powerful practice. 1. Pause when triggered. 2. Breathe consciously. 3. Feel the emotion without analyzing it. 4. Allow it to pass through you, without attachment. By doing this, something incredible happens. The energy of the emotion begins to dissolve. Brown explains that triggers are not random. They are carefully designed to reveal what still needs healing. And when we stop running from them and start embracing them, they lose their power over us. Chapter 10: Breaking Free from Time, Living in the Now. By this point, something profound is happening. Our relationship with time is changing. Brown explains that as we integrate our emotions, we naturally stop projecting into the future or dwelling in the past. We begin to experience what mystics and sages have spoken of for centuries: the timeless present. This is not an abstract idea. It is a felt experience. We stop worrying about what hasn't happened yet. We stop replaying what has already passed. We find ourselves fully immersed in each moment, alive and awake. It is here that true peace emerges, not as an achievement, but as a state of being. Conclusion of Part 2: The Great Unraveling. And so, we reach the end of Part 2. But in truth, this is just the beginning. We have learned that our suffering is not random. It is an echo of the past, inviting us to heal. We have discovered that presence is the key to freedom, not as an abstract idea, but as a lived experience. And we have seen that everything we seek, peace, joy, fulfillment, is already here. The only thing keeping us from it is our own resistance. The presence process is not about achieving something. It is about unraveling everything that is not real, so that what remains is the pure, unfiltered truth of who we are. Now, the question is, will we continue? For those who do, the journey does not end here. In Part 3, we step into the final phase, the deepening of presence, the full embodiment of what we have learned. The transformation is real. The choice is ours. Are you ready? The journey continues. Part 3 Summary. Dear readers, fellow travelers, we have ventured deep into the heart of the presence process. We have seen how our past dictates our present, how resistance is the guardian at the gate of transformation, and how every relationship and emotional trigger is a doorway to healing. Now, in Part 3, we step fully into the practice. This is the stage where presence is no longer an idea, no longer a fleeting experience. It becomes our way of being. But make no mistake, this is not about reaching enlightenment. It is about something far more powerful: full integration. No more running from emotions. No more searching for answers outside of ourselves. We stop doing presence, and we start being presence. Let us begin. Chapter 11. The Art of Allowing, Surrendering to Presence. At this point, something profound happens. We stop trying to force healing. We realize that healing does not come through effort, but through allowing. Michael Brown calls this conscious surrender. This means We no longer chase positive experiences or run from negative ones. We stop judging emotions as good or bad. We simply allow them to be. We recognize that presence is not something to achieve, it is something to receive. When we surrender, something incredible occurs. Life begins to flow effortlessly. We stop reacting to the world, and instead, we respond from a place of deep awareness. This is where we taste true freedom. Not freedom from problems, but freedom from the illusion that problems define us. Chapter 12. The Death of the Story. Letting Go of Identity. One of the biggest breakthroughs in the presence process is the realization that we are not our story. The story, the one we have told ourselves our whole life, is made of memories, beliefs, and past wounds. It says things like, I am unworthy. I am broken. I am not enough. But Brown asks us, who would you be without the story? This is a terrifying and exhilarating question. Because once we let go of our story, we step into the unknown. And in the unknown, we meet our true self, not the self shaped by trauma, but the self that is whole, powerful, and completely at peace. Chapter 13. Presence in Daily Life. Living the Practice. By now, presence is no longer just a meditation practice or a 12-week journey. It is something we begin to live every single day. Brown teaches us how to integrate presence into our daily activities, breathing consciously while walking, eating, and working, becoming aware of emotional reactions, and choosing stillness instead of reaction, embracing discomfort instead of running from it. Life does not change, we change. The same situations that once triggered us no longer have power over us. We begin to feel a deep sense of inner peace, even in the midst of chaos. Presence is no longer something we seek. It is who we are. Chapter 14. The Ripple Effect. How Presence Transforms the World. As we change, the world around us changes. Relationships heal because we stop projecting our pain onto others. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than suffering. We inspire others, not by preaching, but simply by being. Brown reminds us that presence is not just for personal growth, it is for collective healing. When one person becomes fully present, they create a ripple effect. Their peace radiates outward, touching everyone they meet. And so, our personal journey is not just about us. It is about something greater. Final chapter. The journey continues. And so, we reach the end. But is there truly an end to presence?
No.
There is no finish line. No final goal. Presence is a lifelong practice. A moment-to-moment choice. Brown leaves us with one last message. You do not need to seek presence. You already are presence. This is the great realization. We are not separate from peace. We are not separate from healing. We are not separate from truth. Everything we seek is already here. And so, the only question that remains is, will you choose to be present? The journey is yours. The path is clear. Now, step forward, not into the future, but into this moment, right here,
Right now.
because this is where life truly begins. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new video updates.